The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Yeah, this is Charlie from Aftermath, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather. As always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. Today it is an honor and a privilege to have Charlie. He's the vocalist of Aftermath. I'm going to be talking to him about their official lyric video for Smash Reset Control that is out now off their upcoming second full-length studio album, There Is Something Wrong, via Zoid Entertainment. This band is one of the original crossover bands from the 1980s. And that is the legitimate truth, folks. I remember these guys from the 80s. I'm not saying it just because Charlie's on here, and I told Charlie that before we got started. And they're a crossover band that transformed into one of the most technical thrash metal bands of their time. And I think they are the very first ones to do that and set the road or set the way for that. So, Charlie, how's it going, my man?
Pretty good, man. Good to talk to you, and thanks for having me as a guest. I appreciate it.
No problem whatsoever. Glad to have you on here, man. Glad to have some of the old forefathers of metal and thrash on here. So good to have you on here.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And hearing it said like that, it's funny how fast time goes. A snap of a finger. I still feel like when we get together and play, it still feels like it's not that long ago. You know what I mean? It's time's just flying by.
You're right, man. I mean, I just remember when I was a kid getting to hear MTV for the first time when MTV was good, listening to, Guns N' Roses when they first came out, and all those old school bands like that, and now it's just nothing. It's so hard to find great music these days. Yeah,
and no matter what genre, it
Exactly.
almost seems like it's all just made to sell quickly. You could tell. It's not like almost in the old days when they were doing songs like they'd have songwriters for all the pop artists and everything. It's back to that, but the talent isn't as good as that day, and you could tell a lot of it's like studio trickery. Like, it's not amazing singers. It's a lot of it's like fixed with auto-tune, or bands don't even play songs. We found out when we returned and recorded our album, the guy at the studio told us that a lot of bands actually don't play the whole song straight through. They do it in sections, and that's insane when you hear that. When we used to record straight through with no trickery at all. You know what I mean?
See, and I remember reading like Hit Parader and Circus Magazine about bands and stuff, and reading their interviews on how depth that they went through with the recording process and how hard it is back then compared to today, digital wise versus cutting 2-inch tape. Now that was a bitch, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it was hard then, and you had to do take after take, and then it was like actually like work. I mean, now to us it's almost like a joke. You almost don't even need there's barely, I don't know, maybe the world just doesn't have the originality or the songwriters or the players. Maybe everything's been done, but it seems like it's kind of reached the end of the road for a lot of things, and then the studio, everything being fake, you could tell when you listen to it. It doesn't have soul in it. There's something missing.
That's very true. Does it bother you guys that people still consider you guys like, hey, I remember you from back in the day, and you guys were forefathers of transcending over to what y'all have done now? I mean, does that kind of bother you to say, hey, look, let's look at what we've done after that?
Well, it doesn't bother us because, we didn't really tour like other bands did and put years of their lives and then have it seem like it wasn't kept in people's memories. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we did so little on that side that being remembered is almost like, wow, you actually remember us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It wasn't like, it'd be different if we were away from families for like a decade touring, playing shows all over the world, and having a lot of be not that, like bands experience on the road. They go on a Tuesday night in Omaha or wherever, and there's barely anybody there. We didn't take that route. We just spread the music out and didn't tour like other bands toured or anything like that. So it's almost like, wow, they remember us. And I did notice, like our albums still get reviewed, like the Eyes of Tomorrow album we released. That's the technical progressive thrash album that's considered like classic in the genre. Still gets reviewed. Even this past year alone, we got like 5 great reviews from big metal sites. Nobody was, it was pretty wild. In 2018, somebody's reviewing an album that came out in '94 that was really supposed to be released in 1990.
But that shows you on the longevity of what you guys created, man.
Yeah, well, the reviews actually point out stuff that, like when you read well-educated reviews when you were a kid of albums, and you could tell the writer knew what he was talking about. The reviews are really thought out, and it points out, like, besides myself being the vocalist, the musical part, the musicians in the band, they're all top-notch players, and they're getting appreciated, which is great. Plus, we have the new stuff. We reunited in 2015, though, so it's kind of still feels fresh coming back.
Did you just need the hiatus just to take a break and find out what you wanted to do, or
the band broke up? See, like the band was around from 1985 to '94, and then we broke up, and then most of us went on to a major label album we released called Mother God Movie Star, which was like a combination of rock, metal, and electronic, like hardcore, like DJs and stuff. It was like an experiment. Like the album began as a metal band and ended up as like a weird electronic project, and it was called Mother God Movie Star. So then I went on to be in some other band called Stripping the Pistol during the early 2000s, and so the band was broken up literally for 20 years without ever planning on coming back. It was never in our mind. No, we never talked about it at all until like 2015. We got offered to do a show in Germany at a heavy metal festival out there, but it just so happened that the year before, me and Steve, the guitar player, and Ray, we started talking and hanging out again, but not about the band, just randomly. It just happened through Facebook or through other mutual friends, because I hadn't seen the guitar player in 20 years, Steve, and me and him started the band, It felt great. It was just like a surprise.
Yeah.
It was like, that's why I said earlier, it feels kind of like that many years haven't gone by, we're all in the room together practicing,
It's true, man. It takes you back when the good old days were happening.
Yeah, the only thing that's different, there's no naked girl posters on the wall, and there's no, like, friends walking in with six-packs randomly, and none of that happening anymore, and that's the only difference, really. Oh, yeah, we can't smoke there. Like, I remember the old days, our rehearsal room was filled with smoke, But the new music, the album we got coming out, There Is Something Wrong, we're just excited. When we reunited, we were going to do a few shows just for fun, but somehow we ended up writing a 9-song concept album, especially concept theme. It's about finding the true enemy of society, like exposing the problems that the world has, the real problems, and giving solutions. It's not just like saying this is wrong, everything stinks. It's like actually saying this is why it stinks, and this is what you got to do, and this is the enemy,
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. The new single, Smash, Reset, Control, it's a very fast and hard-hitting song, and I like this. It puts in mind a lot of Terror, the band Terror, and hardcore stuff like that. I like it. What led you guys to pick this song as a single? And I know it's a political song, and this is cool. I like what y'all did. Like you said, you picked out what was wrong and what to fix it. But let's talk about this a little bit. What led you guys to pick this song?
Well, that song actually is the lyric video, but the Real's first single's coming out called Dythanasia, and the video was already recorded last week. It's a performance video, but it's like a real, high, not high budget nowadays. They're not, but it's not just a lyric video, Mm-hmm. And Smash, Reset, Control, we put it out first because, again, we went from being a crossover band to a technical progressive thrash band, but now on this song, it shows that we went back to the roots of the band, like we did the very first year in 1985, when we combined, the energy of super fast thrash, and thrash was just brand new then. So we just wanted to play fast, heavy metal, combining with the hardcore ideals, the lyrics and, the true world topics instead of fantasy. And it shows where we were at mentally, because we went that route for the first, song that people hear from us in, 20 years, to be like true old Aftermath, because we were about that back then. And we think, basically what I'm saying is the world is such chaos. I felt in the aggression, the anger from the song, the frustration, just the way it began screaming, you know shit, fuck them, you know, it's like, it's got to hit you in the face, just like old crossover thrash metal did in the beginning, you know, the power of the music and the truth from the lyrics, you know. It's just saying, smash, reset, control. The whole system is messed up. Everything you've been told is a lie. We got to start it fresh again and make it a pure democracy. You know, we're, you know, ideal for everybody, not just the rich to be benefiting, you know. Remove the Federal Reserve. We don't need a middleman. You know, those are the topics of the song. It points out the 3 city-states, the Vatican, Lower London, and District of Columbia as being like headquarters of where the problems stem from, you know.
What's impressed or excited you the most about making the new album, There's Something Wrong? What's caught your eye about, if anything, the most possibly, man?
Man, the thing that caught my eye is, like, it seemed like it was just, you know, when you read those interviews and people go, man, the song just came to me and stuff, you know, like magically. I always thought they were crazy. What are they talking about? But for some reason, this album, it poured out of us. Like the lyrics, first time ever where I was just writing too much. Like it got done so quick that it almost seems like it was given, like those generic statements people say that just came to us, you know? It felt like it was writing itself when we were writing it. It was just like, it was just amazing, because when I thought, let's have 9 new songs, our drummer first said, hey, since we came back, let's try to make an album. And me and Steve, the guitar player, go, well, we'll try 1 or 2 songs, but 9, that's like, it seemed, you know, to make a great song and want to release it, you know, I wouldn't want to put out something after all those years that was like, why, you know what I mean? And it just amazes me how smoothly it felt, how natural, like it was meant to be, you know what I'm saying? For some reason, I was meant to write the lyrics, and they were, you know, the music was written just the same way, you know? No effort, no struggles.
Is all the original members back with this, or no?
The band started as a 4-piece with me, Ray, and Steve, vocals, drums, and guitar. Yeah, we're there, the 3 guys that started the band. We started for 6 months in '85. We played with just the 3 of us. And then we booked a show, and then we ended up getting a bass player named Adam, which was to this day, till now, from '85, he looks the same. He was a shaved head, hardcore skinhead with suspenders, you know, the boots, everything's never changed, you know?
Yeah.
And he was in the band when we reunited in 2015. And so was the guitar player from Eyes of Tomorrow. We added a second guitar player during Eyes of Tomorrow. And it was actually all 5 of us, you know? But Adam just couldn't play the more progressive stuff, you know, that we went on later to play. He just couldn't do it, and we couldn't come out and have him not play, so we had to let him go again for a second time. We did it back in '86, '87, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And basically, it's the 3 original guys with a different bass player now. We're a 4-piece. We didn't keep the 5-piece line of the 2 guitar player. So to answer the question, yeah, it's me, Steve, and Ray that started the band. Me, Steve, and Ray are there with George on bass now, you know? That George.
Any songs off the album that stand out more to you on it as of right now, possibly? I mean, I know these are like picking your favorite collectible or child or whatever, but are there any that are sticking out for you that you could talk about before the album's released, man?
Yeah, it's funny because everybody has different songs within our group, you know, the band members and friends of it. My favorite right now is this song called Temptation Overthrown and False Flag Flying, which is the first song on the album. Again, the album is 9 songs, 45 minutes long, but every song connects with an interlude. Like Queensryche had an Operation Mindcrime,
yes,
and I think their songs connect. Yeah, there's no gaps. You know, there's no one song every song has connects with the other one. You know, but again, they're separate songs. But you know what I mean? They're interludes in between every song. Some of them are a minute long. Nothing's over 5 minutes, and it ends with a weird, strange, experimental song called Expulsion.
Kind of like a concept album, but truly not, though.
Yeah, it's a concept album because there's not a story. It's basically every song is exposing different kind of enemies in the world, like exposing a different problem and saying what happened. And in between, even the interludes might have, for instance, the title track, There Is Something Wrong, the chorus is repeated in interludes in different ways, you know, like the lyrics, you know what I'm saying? So it's like almost like how you repeat a lie so many times it becomes truth. You know how they do it in government, you know how they want to lie and they keep repeating stuff. Mm-hmm. It repeats messages like throughout the album in different ways, you know. And oh yeah, we have a mascot that we've been, you know, Zoid, we call him. He's on our Killing the Future demo, as flying through as a, you know, in a cape. And Isaac tomorrow is there, and again he's going to reappear for the third time. So we're keeping the kind of like Iron Maiden with Eddie. You know what I mean? He's been on all our album covers, so there's a third version of him too on the cover.
So who's produced this new album from you guys?
It was produced with me, myself, and our manager Peter and Chuck, who engineered the album. You know, it was kind of co-produced by the band. You know, we did ourselves, but again, Zoid Entertainment is our management. It's out now, but we're going to find a label to put it out to distribute and everything. Zoid is not putting it out. They're just like spreading it around right now, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
To get the buzz going.
Do you like this side of having the control of producing your own way and having time to do it whenever you want to? Do you like this side versus having an actual producer in there with you guys?
It's funny. I was just listening to a podcast yesterday where the guy hates when the band produces albums. Rock Talk with Mitch LaFont or whatever. They were actually discussing this very topic. Yeah. And most people were saying they don't like it when a band produces. He feels it should be, he actually said, he feels in a funny way, it should be illegal for bands to produce themselves.
What?
You know? Well, he's just joking because he thinks it's better when they use a producer, you know?
Sure.
Instead of having, you know, and in a lot of ways it might be, you know, because we're four guys. It's a fifth year, you know, fresh, and he takes the songs you've been working on and maybe takes it to different places that you wouldn't have thought of. But with this, it was pretty much, I think it needed to be produced by myself and the band, you know, because I don't think it's too much of a message that's going out there, and it couldn't be messed with, you know.
How long did it take to record this album from you guys?
Well, we recorded it throughout the year, but we recorded it like we'd work, let's say, one weekend, like a Friday or Saturday, whatever it was, and we might not go in for another 2 weeks, and then a couple times we didn't go in for like a couple of months. So if you put all the time together, it would be less than a month, you know. But it took throughout a year just because of schedules, of everybody's schedules, you know what I'm saying? You know, we're older now, and, you know, we work, like I work nights. Our drummer works like half nights, half early morning. Our guitar player, Steve, lives an hour away, but he has a normal job. It's just hard to get it all together, you know. But over a year, we recorded this past year, you know.
What do you hope, Charlie, the fans take away from the music, or message you hope they hear when they're listening to Aftermath's music, man? I mean, regardless if it's from the 80s or this new album, what do you hope they get from it? Well,
I hope to get, like, to walk away and going, hey, man, a lot of the official word, like from the established corporate media or our government, you know, or who the enemy is and why we fight these wars. You know, there's a reason, like even wars like World War I and World War II, they didn't just happen naturally because a fight or argument. There's always like behind the scenes, it was like pre-planned. So that changes everything. So basically, there's been so many lies to civilization, to the people, so many corrupt politicians, so many just scams that I just want them to start picking up on it, just like, and find the truth, you know, start looking for themselves and realize, because if they do put some time into it, as much time as a lot of people put into watching, like, let's say, sports,
yeah,
they will be amazed how much they've been lied to and how different things could have been if they were fully aware of what's going on, you know? And also people not to be divided by, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. That's just like tactic used forever, for eons, from governments to divide the public is a major game that they do. They need the public divided in a billion different ways just so they could control it. Because a united, well-educated people, country, you know, they're not going to get away with a lot of stuff. You know, put it this way. If people are talking politics, sitting around united, but when they're divided amongst themselves, they just fight themselves and they don't realize what's really going on. You know, the old problem, reaction, solution concept. You know what I mean?
How much growth musically have you seen this band, including yourself, go through up to the release and working on this album? Or has it just been more of a personal growth for each of you involved with this now?
It's been different growths because I went on and played with some other band, you know, during the last, the whatever you want to call the zeros, the 2000s. But right. Steve and Ray, after the band broke up, they kind of like kept playing to themselves, but they didn't join bands and start being in the rock world and changing their sound. And so what's cool with them, they grew as players but they were already great. But I mean, they didn't become generic like everybody else just because they were in the scene of some kind of scene. They were on their own. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they weren't influenced. So I love that they kept that old cool '80s metal sound, but with the modern, sound of now. You know what I mean? It's just like you still feel like it's them playing. You know.
What about music as a whole? Do you think it's hit that plateau where it's just steady as it goes, or do you think that there's still some out there growing and stepping outside that box?
No, it seems like it's hit an end. It seems like everything's kind of been done. I mean, you can't get any heavier or any faster, right? I mean, everything's been done. So right now, I think there's like a lot of regurgitation, a lot of like, everything sounds a little bit generic now. It doesn't seem like there's a band that stands out. Like back in the early days, even before my time, when the original like Sabbath, Zeppelin came out, or Deep Purple, Judas Priest, UFO, Thin Lizzy, every band was so unique. Nobody sounded alike. Now, to me, if you hear like a band, so let's say, here, take 10 new releases of 10 metal albums this past year, or 10 rock albums or whatever, they're all going to sound kind of the same. If they're on the Nickelback direction, it's like radio rock, generic that way, or if it's like metal and, they're screaming the vocals and singing the choruses, I mean, how many times every band does that,
I remember when the first time I heard Thin Lizzy, and this is after their lead singer had passed away. I still love Thin Lizzy to this day, and I'm 39 years old.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they're amazing. I just was listening to the whole Bad Reputation album.
Yeah.
Like, just a song, it kicks in, the riffs, it's just amazing. The warmth. You could hear the warmth of the album still,
For all
or UFO.
Yeah, UFO for sure. And for all you music teachers that are listening out there, or any music gurus, throw on some Thin Lizzy and let these young ones know. So here's some good stuff to listen to.
Speaking of music teachers, Steve in our band, in his 20s and stuff, or no, in his teens, because when I was in high school, it's funny because Ray, the drummer, in our high school was known by reputation as a great drummer. Before I even knew Ray or whatever, I already heard about him. Man, this kid could play the whole Maiden album, like killer. Because when it was Diano still in the band. And I remember that was grammar school. When I went to high school, out of 4,000 kids, everybody knew Steve because he was a teacher at this place called Tunes and Taps, like a regular guitar teacher. And he could play, like the word was that he could play some Yes song that all guitar players thought was really hard to play, La Stranglia or whatever. And he was actually a teacher, a music teacher. I actually took lessons from him, but I had to quit because he wanted me to learn by the book. He wasn't like, I go to him, show me Run to the Hills or whatever. He goes, you got to learn the notes first,
Quick to the point, let's go.
And I already tried a couple other teachers because I wanted to play guitar, but they were old men. So I figured, oh man, this guy, I heard about him in high school. I knew him in school, but I didn't know him. I knew of him, right? And I ended up taking lessons. I went to the store, signed up. But then after 2 weeks, I started blowing it off, and he was calling me like a school, like, why aren't you here? You're booked for a half hour. And I couldn't quit because it's just hard to call up somebody and go, I don't want to take lessons anymore. But I remember it stressed me out at that point because I just didn't want to learn the note, which was a mistake. I should have sat back and learned the Mel Bay book, it was called, the Mary Had a Little Lamb type stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put the time, And then I go, hey, I forget about it. I heard I was into Motorhead. This is before the thrash thing stuff. I go, Lemmy doesn't sing like Freddie Mercury. I could do Lemmy. And then, then I started.
When you go into the recording studio, do you do anything differently during the writing and recording process to help keep your mind fresh and open to new ideas? Do you do anything differently or no?
No. It's just like when we go in there, every time we've gone in there, the songs, whether it was all the 3 demos we did, the albums we did, the songs, everything was pretty done all the way. Maybe some cool effect on a vocal or whatever, or on echoes and just like little effects. And then again, we really don't use that much effects. And if you hear the stuff, it's pretty dry. But everything's written 100%, so there's nothing that influences it. We just got to get the performances down,
What can fans expect at a show from Aftermath who have not got to see you guys live as of yet, man?
Just for older guys, we're all like, then again, the whole rock scene, metal scene, there's so much older people, unfortunately, time goes fast, like I said earlier, but just as much energy as you can from a band that came from that, you know what I'm saying? because you see a lot of older bands, they seem tired, but we feel like we're angry, and like a young band should be, like just rage and anger about what's going on,
Yeah.
A lot of energy.
We're living in the digital era of recording albums and plus social media. Do you like this to get albums out quicker and plus social media to get out to more fans? Say, like it was back in the day. Do you like this now?
See, I don't know. There's great things about it. I can imagine, like, with the technology now and social media and getting everything quickly, like laying in my bed when I was like 12 years old or even younger, like 7 years old, I was so into Kiss and I could see everything right away. That'd be amazing. But the thing I don't like is like the record stores are gone.
Yeah.
And I love the record stores. Like when I used to go to different countries of the world or different cities, every city I'd want to hit up the cool record shops, and it's sad that that's getting harder and harder to do. And then I don't like also how everything's so, like, everything about a band now. There's no mystery behind it. Like a lot of times when we were young, we didn't even know what the bands looked like, and there was an aura about them. Everything, they seem larger than life now. Bands show everything. Like they show when they're going to the toilet. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Basically, they show every process of making the album. Just like I don't like seeing when, the making of a movie. Like I don't need to see everything that's done. I know it's a movie. I don't need to see how the cool, unbelievable parts were done. I know they're fake. I don't want to. It's almost like you don't want to be in the back of the kitchen a lot of times. When they're making your food.
I mean, I get shit because I like the band Ghost. I mean, everybody knows that Tobias is Papa. I understand it, but still, the Nameless Ghouls still have that mystique of who are they? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Ghost I like, but a lot of people in the metal community don't like them, and they make fun of, But I think they're a great band. They're almost like one of the only bands that really stood out of this last 5 years at least or more.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
And then people are still confused. I had to argue with somebody that when they put out the fake press release that there's going to be another Pope, that it's always Tobias, even though they say there's another Pope. It's like I can't believe that people just don't understand kind of simple things nowadays. You know what I mean? Like a simple thing like that, you got to spend time arguing with somebody that no, it is the same singer.
Yeah.
The Nameless Ghouls have changed, and there's like some lawsuits going on.
Yeah.
But by the way, Tobias was in the underground. He was in the underground, like thrash metal or death thrash or whatever. I think his band was a thrash metal band, but that was like in the later 90s or the early 90s. I mean, not later 90s. So he comes from the underground scene,
Really? I didn't know. See, that's something I didn't know. Learning something every day. I did not know that.
Yeah, like he was in zines, demo trading. Actually, he was even into like some band. He was into my friend's band from Chicago. Like he used to like tape trade and all that stuff.
See, that's awesome, man. And I'm a huge Ghost fan. That's actually I'm going to be Papa Emeritus for Halloween to give out candy.
Yeah, which Papa though? There's been like which costume?
2. I'm going to be Papa 2.
Papa 2.
Yeah.
Right now, like I think what are they on their 4th album, right? Because my favorite is the 3rd, I think, and I like the 3rd, the first one. The second one wasn't as strong, I thought. You know what I mean?
Tobias is a very smart man with all this because every other album there's a new Papa, and I like what he's doing with that because he's building Papa to be more.
Well, it's the mystery that I'm saying that's lacking. We know too much about every band. I mean, Ghost was mysterious,
Yep. Yes, sir.
Oh, I remember the name of his band, Repugnant. Opus Eponymous was 2010. Infestasium 2013, and then Meloria 15 and prequel.
Yeah. And then after that,
so they do have 4, like I thought.
Yeah. Then you had the EP after that, Popstar, which had Square Hammer.
Yeah.
You like what you like. I like it. I like the mystique of it. I don't give a shit if Tobias is Papa or not. I still like what they're doing for music. And think about it, guys. If you look at Iron Maiden and you compare Ghost to their sets, it's pretty much the same thing that they're doing.
Well, all I know is, he's got he wrote some good songs, and he does everything.
Yes.
He's not just a singer,
Right. I cannot agree with you more, my friend.
And then again, if you want to know, it was a death metal band he was in. They were called Repugnant, and they were like the one album. I think they only released the one. They were around from '98 to 2004. It's a cult album in the underground, the one album they have.
If I ever get the opportunity to get to interview Ghost, of which I'm trying my damnedest, I will bring that up. I will bring that up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Repugnant, yeah.
Thanks,
and
man.
it was death metal. It was, he was screaming. So when you hear his vocals on there and you hear his vocals now, you go, wow, that's a big span of different styles. You know what I mean? He's got talent.
Oh God, yeah, for sure. Support wise, Charlie, is there a country or even a location that stands out more or even surprises you that Aftermath gets support from?
Well, in the old underground days, we used to actually get mail, and for many years at my house, like, because it went out in like the major magazines had my address in the reviews, and the demo. So we used to get like Mexico, Poland, Italy, and Greece, and back then, Now I can't tell as much because, I guess you could look at the Facebook page, because the band's Facebook page, it's got almost like around 17,000 people, and I think they break it down in countries, and I think Mexico was number 2 when I looked at one time a few years ago, Mm-hmm. So a lot of Latin American things,
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, I want my voice to be heard, I want to put a band together? What was that, man?
Well, it was a generic answer, but it was Kiss. I hate to say it because I kind of like get annoyed by Gene Simmons and his ideas and his talking and, his everything about him. But then again, I was an Ace Frehley fan. And when I was a little kid and I seen him, I thought they were just like every kid that's seen him, millions of people have said it. It was like, I thought they were superheroes and they played music. The songs were catchy. And it made me it got me into like hard rock, Well, it got me into music, actually. I knew of Elvis before that, but
this is just my opinion, and I know you said you're a huge Kiss fan. That's what you got into music, but this is just my opinion. On this last, finally, farewell tour that they're doing, I would love to see them go out with Ace and with Peter, but they're not going to do it. But I wish that they would.
Yeah, no, they should have, because they're still alive. Well, definitely Ace. Ace is playing. He's got a new album out. He's been sober for 10 years, so really, right now, for true Kiss fans, it's insane that Ace isn't in the lineup and having a look-alike. It makes no sense at all. It's almost like Upside Down Planet. So Kiss is doing a final farewell tour, and Ace is healthier than ever and playing better than ever from what I hear, and he's not going to be part of the final thing. Because Pete, I don't know what shape he's in, but Ace should definitely be there. But who knows? Maybe he will, because he's been hanging around with Gene lately, I
tell you, man, it still blows my mind how old Ace is and still can wail on the guitar like he was still in his...
It blows your mind. It blows my mind, too. I was a little kid, and there were posters on my wall. Literally, I was like 7, 8 years old, and I remember walking to my Dynasty when it came out. And then, that's when they got killed, when all the older kids were... Kiss sucks, I mean, I don't know if you remember when it was embarrassing to say you like Kiss, and now... I'm a grown, middle-aged man, and he's still around. It's miraculous.
Man, I still love Metallica. They're still my favorite band. I still get shit for that sometimes.
Well, isn't it funny? I remember when I was a little kid, I looked at my older cousin's Black Sabbath albums, and the back I looked at Black Sabbath with the beards. I thought they were old men back then, and they're still all alive.
Yeah, Ozzy's got some hand problems right now. He's had to cancel his tour.
I guess he can't select. But on that subject, Sharon's got to retire. She should. I mean, she's milking that poor guy. I mean, Ozzy, Ozzy's great. He was in Black Sabbath. I mean, that alone makes him like a legend. Mm-hmm. The Sabbath years and the first 2 Ozzy albums. But let's face it, musically, he's not going to make any great music now. He hasn't in forever. And on stage, he looks tired, like he shouldn't be up there anymore,
My friend Josh Crum is a huge Ozzy Osbourne fan, and I think he's seen him like 20-some times, 20, 25, or 26 times, which kudos to him for that, because that's passion, man. That right there tells you it doesn't matter where Ozzy's at. He's going to be there to watch him. And
Well, yeah, I mean, because, like I said, I will never, even though I think he should be on the road and, it's funny, he should have been retired a long time ago. He was a singer in Black Sabbath. That's all it needs to be.
Sure.
Think about it. You were in Black Sabbath, the first heavy metal band for real, and you were the vocalist. That's all Ozzy needs to do the rest of his life, in my eyes. Anything after that is just extra, Oh,
yeah.
His legendary status was cemented in '79. And let's not forget, the Blizzard of Oz, and I wish there was a band, because it was supposed to be the Blizzard of Oz, not Ozzy Osbourne. And those first 2 albums, because they were recorded really close to each other, Diary of a Madman and the first one, Blizzard of Oz. And that should have been a band. That was a great band. Unfortunately, it became just an Ozzy with a revolving cast of players. Yeah. But that was pretty great. And then we had Heaven and Hell, the album at that time. So when this Black Sabbath, the legendary Black Sabbath splits up, and then they released Heaven and Hell and the first Ozzy album, that was a great time. That's what that's what the golden years of metal for me, you know what I mean? 1980, you know, it was just amazing. I just want to say this, but by 1983, I was getting sick of it because I was starting to see bands in Circus Magazine and everything, and they were getting into, there was a young glam scene coming out, and the older bands like Judas Priest, Ozzy, they were perming their hair, they were starting to look like older women, like cleaning ladies or whatever, and then metal wasn't heavy anymore. That's why I got into the underground, and I didn't want to listen to, you know, back type. It became bad at that time. So thank God the underground came around. You know, we could play music and avoid all the major labels, all the major magazines, and everything went underground to me in the mid '80s. You know.
Has there been a show or a moment that stands out to you that you can recall saying, "Man, this is really worth the time and all the effort that we have put into this band"? Has that happened? I mean, I know you played some big festivals and things like that, but has it happened to you while you was on stage, possibly?
Man, look, you asked some good questions, man. Right off the bat, I mean, it's good question. But actually, the German one that we did on the reunion was a great one because it was cool to still see, to actually have some fans ask for autographs. Again, we never toured Europe before. That was our first time in Europe, you know? And the little amount of promotion we've done in the band, that anybody still remembered us and was excited to see us, and it was in the early in the day, and it came off good, and we felt good after the show. That was, I guess, the special one because we were overseas for the first time, and we reunited. It was unexpected at our age to get our band back together, you know. So I'd say that one, and then the second show we ever did was another one that was a great one in my mind. No, actually. And then there was three in a Crumbsucker show that we did, opened up for the Crumbsuckers at Cubby Bear across the street, Wrigley Field in '88. I'll just say this, that was the first time in Chicago where metal and a hardcore band played together. Before it was like punk bands, hardcore bands, and metal bands, they were separated. If you were around back then, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like together then. But that was the first time where there was a local show that it was like the crossover scene. It was like the first crossover show. And it was like 500 people there, and it was violent. Like the speakers stayed, extra security. It was like a crazy pit, like sardines, but yeah, people upside down, seeing feet in the air, like the big stacks on the stage wobbling to the vibration from the crowd. You know, it was just like a violent, crazy show.
Yeah, and back then, I mean, you wouldn't even think about having a metal band play with a hardcore band. That was kind of like taboo.
No, not at all. Yeah, the year before, like, think about it. In '85, we released a demo that was like hardcore and metal. The year before, I remember I was still in high school, and Van Halen was a big band, you know, and you know, with 1984, you know, it was like those years, Ozzy Osbourne, Soul Lounger. There was nothing extreme at all. There was no extreme. And then I remember the first thing I heard about it, built-in steps. Like in high school, somebody one day goes, "Did you ever hear this band except the song Fast as a Shark, the double bass?" That was like the fastest in '82, like around 1982. But again, that album cost like a lot back then because it was just an import. And then slowly, you know, then the Metallica, the Kill 'Em All album, and even the demo. I heard about the demo, you know, No Life Till Leather, like some friends got it. And then the Death demos, you know, Death from Florida. It was this little info you've been getting, you know, how extreme the music was getting. It was exciting because the limits weren't reached yet. Nobody's gotten super, you know what I'm saying? The speed hasn't gotten to the pinnacle yet. So it was so exciting at that point. You know, we were there at the beginning of a genre developing, you know what I mean? A brand new genre. And when can you do that, right?
So when can we expect the new album to be released from you guys? Are you going to do it before 2018's out, or are you just going to wait and hold off till 2019 maybe?
Another great question, because you kind of read it like in our mind, because it's so close to the end of the year, and we were just talking to our manager, Pete, Zoid Entertainment is what the place called. That's what we were just discussing like a little while ago. Like, it's so close, we might as well make it the new year. You know what I'm thinking? That's what traditionally, that's how it's been. You know, the end of the year, like the music industry kind of closes down.
For sure.
Like November or whatever. Yeah, so we'll probably do it in January. But we're going to release one more song. Probably the video got filmed last week. I would think within a month or so, and maybe 2 more songs before the album comes out. Yeah, because now it seems like we still have 3 months till the end of the year.
Yeah. This is October, so December.
Yeah.
Or November, December. So 2 months.
Yeah, so expect to hear like 2 more songs. And again, the next song, Dysonasia, is what the title will be. Like euthanasia, dysonasia, you know? Yeah, this next song is a lot of them. I mean, a lot of people think this is the next song. That's the best song, that and False Flag. So the next song is really going to be interesting to see what people think, because it's fast, but it's got like a really jam section, you know, with the solo. Because this Smash Reset Control doesn't have a solo. Actually, that's my dad whistling in the middle of where the solo should be, you know?
Oh, wow.
We got a
That's
whistle
cool.
there. Yeah, if you listen to it again, like, notice it's a whistle. It goes throughout the album and the interludes and stuff. It's like, it's part of the concept, you know? It's whistling like no care, you know, like you whistle when you don't care about things. I meant carefree, you know, you're sitting back whistling. It's showing the apathy of the society, you know?
Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, when this album comes out, please pick it up. Please check out their videos that they've got out right now and coming out with. I've liked Aftermath for a while now. I like what they do with their music. It's extremely fast. It's hard hitting to your face, and it's just pretty much hardcore as you can get for music. It's very quick, but it's great. It's really good. It's a different breath of fresh air. Yeah. It's pretty good stuff. So, Charlie, my man,
Thanks a lot, bro.
Thanks for what you guys have done over the years and still continue to do it. How can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy this album when it comes out, tour dates when you go on tour, things like that? How can they do that?
All the info is on the Facebook page, the band, the official Facebook page, and everything we do there will be put up there right away, you know, so that's the spot to find out everything. I really appreciated your interview, man. The questions were great.
No problem. Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
No problem. Yeah. This is Charlie from Aftermath, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please check out our interviews on BODS Mayhem Hour's YouTube page, and plus check us out on Facebook at BODS Mayhem Hour. Folks, thanks for everything. Charlie, best of luck to you guys, man.
No problem, bro, and send me a link and we'll share it on the page, the interview.
Sounds good to me.
That's when I take